All right, welcome to the first episode of College Basketball Addiction. I'm your host, Jordan Mann. You guys can call me J Man. I'm excited to get this channel up and running. Fun first episode, top 5 teams in college basketball in my eyes. I'm excited to see the comments, agreeing or disagreeing with me. If you don't know who I am, I'm a Duke basketball fan. J Man's Takes is on Twitter. I have my own YouTube channel, JMan_, where I dive in on Duke basketball. But I want to do a little bit more than that. I want to branch out more. So college basketball addiction, I'm excited to get this going, get it off the ground to talk about college basketball in general. And with me, as you see on the printer, is Sister Jean. This is a Sister Jean bobblehead that will be out of the box. And once I get shelves up and going, and you'll see her over my shoulder everywhere I am. So I'm excited to give you guys some fun content, some college basketball content. Shout out Cole Adams, hashtag thank you, CBB. So that being said, we're going to go 1 through 5 and name the couple bubble teams that just missed rather than 5 through 1. So, number 1, Auburn Tigers. If you see me looking over here, I got my monitor over here, so it helps me go back and forth. Auburn's a wagon, right? One loss this year was at Duke in Cameron. Hell of a game by Duke, but Auburn, the national media was like, well, yes, Auburn lost, but Auburn's the best team in college basketball, even though they just lost this game. And it's hard to really argue. Like, they are a wagon. Janai Broom's unbelievable. Pettiford is fun to watch. And these guys just hit shots, and they can just – whatever deficit there is against Iowa State, they're down 16 at halftime, and Maui came back and won the game. Like, they're a juggernaut. Like, they against Missouri, 84-68. They play Texas tonight – today's 7th tonight. So – I think they're going to roll against Texas. Auburn is just the number 1 team in the country in my eyes, and I think they'll be the number 1 overall seed going into March. Number 2, we just said it. I alluded to their loss, Auburn's loss at Duke. Duke, to me, is the number 2 team. I know, problematic. They're like number 4, I think, in the country right now, but Cooper Flagg is starting to play more efficiently. I had a show that I was on last night, and we talked about Cooper Flagg. He's starting to make shots. Like, if you look at his box score all year long, it was, hey, this guy's putting up 20, 25 points, but he was shooting like 7 of 20. He was getting to the rim. Most of his shots were around the rim. He was struggling from 3. He's still shooting like 30% from 3, but the last 3 or 4 games for Duke, he's shooting 50% from 3, 7 of 14. But what really is impressive in showing that he can make shots, and it's not a fluke that he's hot from 3, is his free throw percentage. His free throw percentage the last 6 games is 93%. He's 27 of 29. He was 2 of 4 against Georgia Tech, and that's the only misses in his last 6 games. He was 8 for 8, and I think 2 or 3 of those contests. So we're seeing a whole different version of Cooper Flagg, more efficient Cooper Flagg. Oh, by the way, he'll give you 10, 11 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, and a block. But Colin Knippel is another guy that I'm very high on as a Duke fan. He just does – he's not – just a shooter. He is more than a shooter. He's shooting 39% from 3 in his last 3 games. He's been in a little shooting slump leading up to these 3 games, but the guy has the highest assist-to-turnover ratio for Duke. He gets in and crashes. And one of my favorite players that won't get talked about much with Duke because of the dynamic duo of Cooper Flagg and Colin Knippel, and obviously Mala Watch is a freshman that has a high upside, Tyrese Proctor. Tyrese Proctor, he is your old-fashioned story in college basketball. The guy that showed flashes freshman, sophomore year, but was inconsistent. His junior year now, he is consistent. This is why you fell in love with college basketball back in the day, 20 years ago, where you see a freshman and you see he had potential, and now you're seeing that with junior Tyrese Proctor, where he is giving Duke double figures night in and night out continuously. So they're number 2. Number 3, Iowa State. Iowa State 12-1, and their only loss was against Auburn, which I talked about, up 16 at half in Maui. I really like Iowa State, man. 6 scores in double figures, led by Keaton Gilbert and Curtis Jones at 16 points per game. Moncho Lovech, I might have butchered that. I'm sorry. We'll work on that. Leading 3-point shooter at 45%. 10% increase since his freshman year last season. So he went 35%, 36% last year. He's at 45% this year. Kid can light it up. Offense and defense for Iowa State, man. They graded out as excellent on synergy in both, and the Cyclones are top 15 in the country in defense efficiency. And to go back to Duke for a second, that's why I really like this Duke team, because their defense travels every game. And so Same with Duke, same with Iowa State. When your defense is top notch and you can rely on that night in, night out, and your shot's not falling, I like that team to make a deep run in March because it shows if they're in a sluggish start in the round of 32 against a higher seed, their defense will prevail and they'll win the game and win outright, won't be upset. So Iowa State number 3. So number 4, I have Tennessee. Yes, I know Tennessee is number 1 in the country. They're 14-0. I know. But in comparison to the teams in front of them, Tennessee hasn't played a real contender yet. They do tonight on Tuesday. They play Florida, so this is going to age just perfectly for me, and I cannot wait. But their best win, looking back currently, was by 15 against Baylor. Iowa State beat Baylor by 19, and the Arkansas team, whose head coach just let his team sleep in, didn't care about having a walkthrough against the number 1 team in the country, and would rather play that game and then fly out and watch one of his former players from Kentucky in the NBA. So those are the 2 biggest wins for Tennessee this season. It's okay, right? Like, is this the year Rick Barnes? We know what he's like in March. He's been a hell of a coach at Texas and Tennessee in the regular season, but can this team finally make a deep run for Rick Barnes and get to the Final Four? And I do like Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier is fun to watch. 20 points per game, 47% from 3. That is my type of dude. And Chaz Lanier is that guy. And Zakai Ziegler is unbelievable. I love a guard that's a facilitator, 12 points a game, but 8 assists. He just, if you know me and you'll get to know me through this channel, I love good point guard play. And Ziegler is that guy. I think that's the recipe for success for Tennessee to make a deep run in March with the dynamic duo of Lanier and Ziegler. So number 5, this is the controversial take. This is why we go 1 through 5. Number 5 is Florida. I know it's not going to be well received. I get it. But they're my wild card. And I know they're coming off a loss at Kentucky, 106-100. And again, they play Tennessee tonight. So this can age gracefully for me, where I have Tennessee 4th and the country has them 1 and Florida goes in and beats Tennessee, or this can age terribly in the next few hours and Florida gets blown out against Tennessee, and then you guys can let me know in the comments. But similar take to Auburn that I have with Florida. I came away from that Kentucky game and was like, damn, this Florida team is good. They're really good. Evan Maya has this stat called the kill shot, and it's basically when a team has a 10-0 run or better in a game. Kentucky had 3 of those against Florida, and Florida was in the game until the final minute of the game. Like I said, 106-100 on the road, 3 kill shots. I think one of them was a 16-0 run. Florida went out to that pretty big lead, and Kentucky came back. But every time Kentucky made those runs and the roof would blow off in Rupp Arena, Florida just fought back and made a 10-point game, a 1-possession game. And that matters to me, whether it's a win or a loss, to show that a team has that big of a fight. And again, like I said, with Tennessee, guard play. Florida's 3 guards, they are unbelievable. You have Walter Clayton Jr., you have Elijah Martin from FAU, and you have Will Richards. They're a fun trio of guards, but I think will make a deep run with Florida coming in March. And so now the bubble teams that just missed out, I have 2. I have Alabama and I have Kentucky. The 2 bubble teams that are going to be out right now are SEC teams because the SEC is loaded. So Alabama is volatile. They are good, really good. They have Sears, Mark Sears, unbelievable. But they have those 2 losses against Purdue and Oregon. That's what I mean by volatile. Who can step up when Sears doesn't have it going? Because when Sears is on, Alabama, juggernaut. But when Sears struggles, who steps up? Who steps up? I know you want Grant Nelson to be that guy, but in the loss against Purdue, Sears was 5 of 15. Against Oregon in that loss, he was 3 of 14. And then an overtime win against Houston, good win, by the way. It was a good win. He was 4 of 13. And then in a 5-point win against Rutgers, who lost at Kennesaw State, had some head-scratching games. In a 5-point win against Rutgers, Sears was 7 of 19, and Alabama gave up 90 points against Rutgers. So who steps up for Alabama, and can their defense lock in when they make this run through SEC play? And lastly, Kentucky. Kentucky's offense, fun to watch. They beat Duke. I know they beat Duke. Kobe Bryant, right when he walks into the gym, he's in range. He can shoot anywhere from deep. He's a threat offensively. My main question with Kentucky remains, can they play defense in the big games that matter? Like I said, Florida, they did outscore Florida 106-100. If Kentucky has to score 100 points in every game to win, I'm not confident in that. They're 93rd in team defense efficiency in the country. 93rd. That scares me if I'm a Wildcat fan, because anything can happen in March when March Madness comes. And we're going to bring this topic up again multiple times on this channel as we get to March. But right now, I have Kentucky on the outside of my top 5, strictly due to defense. I love what Lamont Butler brings defensively. He is a defensive guard. What he's done offensively for Kentucky has been phenomenal as well. But as good as Kobe Bryant is offensively, as good as Andrew Carr is offensively, can the team combine their great offense and make a pretty good defensive team? Amari Williams, he's a pretty good defender. That's why he transferred from Drexel to Kentucky. Lamont Butler from San Diego State. We know what he can do defensively. But as a unit, can Kentucky become a better defensive team to where they can make a deep run in March and a pretty deep run in SEC play as they tip off really tonight, Tuesday? I think they play Georgia. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was fun, and I can't wait to get this channel going. Leave some comments, recommendations, any questions you have about college basketball, and we can bring those up on a future show. So I'll see you guys next time.